Okay. Sorry, guys. I had technical difficulties and I cut the conversation short by mistake. Let's see if Amy can join us once again. Yeah, these are things that happen when you're not prepared or when this is the first time you try doing this. There was a notification that came through and I clicked it and it made me get out of the live. Let's wait a few more minutes to have Amy join us back in. Sorry, guys, I had a little bit of a technical difficulty going on. Um, so let's give her a few more minutes. Sorry, guys. It'll be just a second. Thank you, Amy. I see you back in. Let's. Sorry.
I don't know what happened. Yeah.
No, so what happened is I saw a notification. I was gonna like move it away, and it changed my account, and
Oh.
yeah, I lost it. But for some reason, it kept playing, but I just couldn't see you.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So well, before we start, just wanna invite everyone to ask your questions. Leave a comment if you guys have any questions, any additional any comments, any thoughts as well. We'll we'll work together with Amy on just collaborating, having a good conversation, and getting to know each other. She's gonna ask me questions. I'm gonna ask her a few questions too. But feel free to also ask questions, and we'll try to answer them as we can. So Amy, let's see. Let's kick things off.
Okay.
Um, could you share a little bit about your journey and what into the world of plants and what sparked your passion?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was really funny when you were telling yours of like growing up around plants and your grandma had plants and you've like always been kind of messing around with them because I'm like the complete opposite. I always thought plants were stupid. I was like, they're way too much work. Like, who would spend all this time? Like, they just grow naturally outside where you can enjoy them. And so I actually just kind of came into this plant world. I'd say it was like October / the beginning of November of like this last year. So like a few months.
Yeah, I saw it in your bio that
Yeah.
it's just recent. It's recent.
Yeah. So I had a family member who, like, I don't have a good relationship with, had given me a peace lily
Huh.
like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, and I sort of like accepted it as like this, like, I don't have a good relationship with this person, and just like pushed it off to the side. And it started like wilting, and my husband's like, "Are you gonna like water this thing?" And I was like, "Whatever, it can just die." And he's like, "I can't just let this die." So he kept this little peace lily alive. We moved over this summer, and he brought it with him, like in his Jeep Wrangler, like had a hat on it, like so it wouldn't blow away. Like got this peace lily safely to Tennessee, and then I just started chatting with some people here and meeting women, and plants thrive in Tennessee. I was coming from Colorado, where it was cold and everything dies.
I
So
used to live there too.
yeah,
So I know how cold it gets, and that's kind of like the saddest part that I I love the changes in seasons and all. And sorry to interrupt you, but just a quick thought that I had. But seeing how everything dies down over there, of course the spring is a new start and everything starts blooming back again. But it's cold. It's cold.
it,
Is brown
yeah.
in the
And
winter.
so here in Tennessee, everything just grows so
Huh.
fast. It's so green, and so everyone out here, at least in where I'm at, like plants. and a mile away is like the cutest rare plant shop in the universe. And so I just met them, went in there, saw these like gorgeous different leaves, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hooked. So I like went home and started like pruning this peace lily that was like half dead, and started taking care of her and reading what kind of light she needed. And then found on Facebook Marketplace this lady was selling some cuttings that she had propagated in water, and so they were like $3 for a Cebu blue and $5 for a pink princess. Like, so I spent like $20 and got all these little cuttings, and went into the plant shop and was like, I think I need some like soil and some pots. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And the guy looked at me like, why did you buy cuttings and not like real plants? Like, and I was like, I guess I'm up for a challenge. And I just started reading, and like then it goes back to like earth science, and you're like photosynthesis and the sun and the air and the water, and I've just been like hooked. And so now at my house, I'm pretty sure I have about 75 plants. I kind of have gone overboard. Like, I'm addicted.
And have you
So yeah.
mastered the technique of propagation and making your own cuttings?
So thankfully, knock on wood, nothing has ever died yet. So yes, I've like learned how to. So people have started gifting me some plants. I ended up meeting a lady, and she was like, "Hey, I have this like really pretty monstera. Do you want it?" And she sent me a picture, and it's a Monstera deliciosa, and it's like 5 years old and like huge. So all of a sudden, I went from like something small to big. So right away, I started taking cuttings just to like kind of shape her and water propagated. And they were growing roots within like 2 weeks in the water. They grow like so crazy fast. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have like plants.
Isn't it beautiful to see roots? I think that's one of my passions. Once I start seeing the roots going out in water and just starting, giving life to, making more room, making the plant more stable.
Yeah.
And then letting other new leaves get grow. It's I don't know. I find it to be like beautiful. It's just It's
I think that's where it gets to be like this fun hobby. Is like I start staring at my plants and I'm like, could I cut you up a little bit more to make more of you, like, to watch you grow? Yeah, for sure.
It's funny because that's how I go with my wife and my kids now that we go, because we go to parks all the time. I live in Florida, so good weather, but we need to get them out. And so we go to local parks, and then I started noticing more of the plants and started thinking, could I make propagation out of this? Could I take some cuttings, get some root hormone, and cut it properly and get it prepared for some potential roots? And I've been able to do it with the bougainvillea. That's why I named it the way I named it, because my passion lately started because of a bougainvillea tree. And so I started doing propagation from branches and just cutting them, putting them in water, letting the roots come out. And that's, I've been able to plant a few trees already, and they've grown, and they've, bloomed with flowers, and it's just such a beautiful tree to take care of. And now the biggest, the bougainvillea tree that got me started back into this whole thing is probably 12 feet high.
Oh, wow.
I can actually show it to you. Let me see. What? Let me open. I'm in my house, so you'll see it in the back there. I might lose my signal, but you'll see it.
Okay.
So this is the bougainvillea tree. You see, it's very tall. I have some hammocks, and it's pretty big. It might look a little small, but from afar you can see.
Yeah,
it covers.
it's really big. Yeah.
So yeah, I have all kinds of trees going on here. Cuttings from everything. I have succulents. I've grown fond of succulents and how beautiful they can be cut, and they can be propagated. What other plants do you like?
I think my favorite are the pothos and I kind of have like a small love building for cactus.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do
So
you find interesting about cactuses?
just like how weird they are. Like they're kind of slow growers. I feel like they don't need a lot other than just a ton of sun. So they're like easy. So it's like cool, just this
Neglect.
window. Yeah, yeah. But then you just get to like let them just be, and they're gonna grow into whatever weird, because some of them that have the arms, like you don't know if it's gonna grow an arm here, or it's gonna look this way, like. So I think it's kind of fun to just see like how the same kind of species of a cactus can look different than the one next to them. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you about your challenges. It's we have all different plant preferences, and navigating the world of plants, it's always smooth. Sometimes it can be smooth sailing, sometimes there will be challenges that you go through. What have been some of the challenges that you've experienced while taking care of plants? Have any of your plants died? Is there a specific plant maybe that you've had an issue keeping alive? For example, in my end, I think I struggle the most with keeping flowers on orchids. For some reason, I just don't know how to keep them blooming. Maybe I overwater because maybe I'm just addicted to watering plants because I do that a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What's yours?
Um, so the one plant that just really doesn't like me and is trying to unalive itself really hard is it's the prayer plant. I think it's like a Maranta red vein something. So it's one of the prayer plants. It's the Calathea.
I gotta
And I
look
have
into it.
other Calatheas that just are really awesome. They're very particular. Like they want distilled or like pure filtered water. They don't want tap water. But mine, I've moved it into two different mediums, trying to figure out like, do you want leca? Do you want soil? Do you want like pond? Like, so I'm trying different substrates that like, that's the only reason why I started trying, is watching influencers being like, hey, these plants do really well in this. Like, I don't know. It's like still giving me new leaves, and the new leaves look really pretty, but everything that's old is like just like shriveling up and like, I want to die. It's so sad. I don't know why. I can't figure it out, like why it just doesn't want to live. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, no, I gotta try that one out. I gotta look it up because I'm not familiar with. I've heard the word. What you said, Calathea?
Yeah.
Calathea,
Yeah.
but I don't know that maybe I've seen it a couple times. I just don't know. Like I haven't bought one, so I don't have any experience with it.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see it.
Yeah.
All right, and what are some challenges? You maybe touched a little bit about it, but some challenges that you've overcome in this journey with plants, and then some achievements. So I think one of my achievements is, I mean, first of all, I think many of us go through that, is keeping those plants alive, right, and helping them grow. But actually, one of the biggest achievements I've been able to do is the bougainvillea wouldn't flower at all, and it just continued to grow. And of course, it was lack of knowledge, and I started researching more and more. I was overwatering it, and they're saying you need to keep it dry until the soil is dry, to then water it a little bit, and it'll help it flower and bloom more.
Yeah.
And of course, fertilizing. It was part of the process that I needed to fertilize in a more of a scheduled type of approach. And so finally, as you saw, that big tree is now flowering. I'm trying to get it to flower more and to make it look like the videos, the fun videos that you see that from Greece, where everything's like flowers no matter what. But I'm getting there. I'm working on that, and pruning it as well, helping a lot. So what in your example, what in your perspective, what has been one of your biggest accomplishments with plants?
Yeah, because I just started in like probably the like crappiest time ever to start planting when it gets cold and everything like goes dormant. Um, so yeah, I think it was just doing a lot of research on the specific plant. So now I'll like research the plant before I'm like thinking of purchasing because I see them and I'm like, that's awesome, I need that. And then I start reading about it and I'm like, oh, it would hate my home. Like I'm not going to create this environment. So yeah, I think successful. It's been really awesome. Like for me, my biggest accomplishment was getting that monstera, cutting it up and propagating, watching the roots grow, and then I put it in leca, have it in this really pretty spot, and those cuttings now have new leaves growing off of them. So like in 3 months to watch like a cutting of a plant start growing and like starting to turn into its own plant has been like really fun. I think all of my stuff has given me like new leaves, and so then I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing, like I'm doing this, like even though I'm not really doing anything other than like just making sure I water it when it needs watered and the right kind of light. So yeah.
That's epic. I love it. Awesome. Well, and do you have any tips, any insights that you can give to anybody that will be watching this? I'm gonna be posting this so we can both collaborate and have it in in your
Yeah.
posting and online. If any tips that you'd like to share or that you've noticed are the most helpful for the audience, for the people that follow you, or
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's always watering. Like for us as humans, like we thrive off of like eating and drinking. Like we need to fuel our body. And I think a lot of people miss that like their nutrients is actually like the sunlight. And yes, it's the substrate, making sure that they fertilize and they're getting nutrients, but like the plant is going to thrive if it's getting enough light. Like we're okay as humans if we go without food, but we'll die without water. Plants are not the same. Like they will die without light, but they can go a little bit longer than we'd think without water. And so I think that's the biggest thing is I started moving plants around my house that like wanted the same amount of water. So they're in their own little planter, but I know that this shelf, I need to make sure that I'm watering it like once a week. And then some of my other stuff that's like not really thirsty right now,
yeah,
I put together in the light that they need, but like I know that I only need to water them every 10 to 14 days. And it just makes it easier going into a room when I'm checking them of like, oh my God, I don't need to check all 75 plants that I have now. You know, I know certain ones will be okay if I didn't make it to that section of the room or the house or whatever. So I think that's like give them buddies, you know, that like drink the same. And I'm sure it will change as spring and summer comes and they'll be more thirsty. But that to me has been like the best thing for me is making it easier when I water them so that way I don't overwater. Yeah.
good. I'll follow that too. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of those that I guess I found my rhythm, and I think everybody finds their own rhythm. But for from time to time, I just every day I just water a little bit on everything. I mean, there are some like for example these that don't get water as often, and they're surviving, and they're not gonna grow as much. I guess the more water you give them, the faster they'll grow. But then there's some that don't require as much water because of their needs, right? So the bougainvillea won't flower. It will grow, but it won't flower if you give it too much water. So yeah, it's a lot of getting to learn, getting to understand your plants, find a rhythm, and stick to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I think we're getting close to finishing this interview. I don't know if you have any questions for me, any anything that sparks your curiosity, or just any comments, or if you want to promote your page. Actually, maybe talk a little bit about how you came up with your page and what inspired you to have this page.
Plants inspired me. No. So I actually like my background is totally into like nutrition and fitness. And so I have my own personal page and like it's all fitness related and like I dabble in my family. And when I found plants, I like was obsessed. And so instead of flooding all my like network of people with plants and then being like, unfollow, you're obnoxious, I was like, I'll just create a plant page. And if anyone is curious about this fun hobby, so that's literally, I just put like Amy the plant lady, because I was like, sweet, it's available, and this is just going to be my little page. And so I did it in a way of not trying to be like a content creator and an influencer and all these things that a lot of people are striving for. It was more or less like, hey, if you just want to see where I'm at and what I'm doing, cool. Here's a place to follow me. And now I think it's evolving more into, yeah, I'm watching a lot of people. I'm reading a lot. I'm a knowledge-based person, so I want to know the whys and hows. And so I'm just starting to dabble in like, hey, this is what's worked for me. What's your favorite thing? Or, you know, trying to add in as people want to engage. You know, thanks for like the whole 500 people who follow me. Like, I appreciate you. I'm just like a fun real page. And if you want to see like lots of pretty plants and me post like why I like them, then definitely follow me. Who knows? Maybe I'll turn into a wealth of knowledge 10 years down the road
Yeah.
and be more than what it is now. But right now it's just a fun hobby and just a fun place that people can pop in and just see plants. And I don't think I have ever posted my face, so you won't see this guy. It's just all about the plants. So yeah.
Do any of your plants have personalities that you could think, you know, how do you promote your page? Like, do you do it by pictures, or like, of course plants, there's individual plants, but what inspires you to drive some content on those plants?
Yeah, I think everyone knows. So I think the very first post that I had was my fiddle leaf fig. I was so proud of it because I went to Lowe's, not knowing that that's not really the number one place you buy plants. And when I got it home, it was doing fine. And then I moved it. And so I laugh at the videos where they're like, don't look at your fiddle leaf fig, and all the leaves fall out. And it's like, don't move it, and the leaves fall out. And I was like, oh, that's actually real, because
Yeah.
that's what my guy did. So it's funny. He like lives by my front door now, where he can just get a view of like the sky and gets bright light. But like I don't touch him if I don't have to. I'm like, just please don't die. So he totally has personality, like plants do. Like they have their own finicky. Some are super dramatic. Some I'm like, okay, queen, like you just need way too much that I cannot. It's fun. Yeah. So I think I just post. I try and just capture like the beauty of the plant. Like that's just what my page is trying to be. Is like plants are phenomenally just this creation that grows and evolves and changes. And so I'm just trying to like portray what I experience. Sometimes the lighting's really bad, and I'm like, oh, if only people could see how awesome this is. So yeah, just trying to bring to light how fun and amazing plants are, and like keep collecting and just make sure that you love them. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And let me ask you one last question, and after that, I'll let you ask any questions. We can continue this conversation if you want a little more. But the last question I have is there any content creator that you see yourself being inspired because of their content and the information they share, the tips? Is there anybody that you would recommend our viewers to check out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like if you're in the plant world, I think everyone follows her, but she to me connected with me because I'm a mom of 4 kids. Like she's really real with like having a busy life, but she's like super amazing content creator. But she is the same way that I am, of like she just wants to know the knowledge, so she teaches a lot. Her name's Samantha. Her page is House Plus Plant, so it's all spelled out. And she gives you how to make your own soil, how to try different mediums, how to decorate, how to create your own plant room. I mean, it's any and everything you could ever want on like the plant world. And she lives in Nebraska, so they get like stupid cold winters and like not tropical climate, you know, so it's fun to see somebody building an indoor environment, but then she utilizes the summer and all the outdoor elements and talks about pests and And yeah, so I have fun following her page. She's really, really cool.
I'll check her out. Yeah, thank you. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Sounds like a really good, like, inspirational page, and this is something that I want to continue to do. Is like get inspired by other people, um, help them inspire others. I think it would be cool to have a conversation. Maybe you and I can jump in a conversation with her, and then you can ask her some questions that you may have for her. I mean, if you haven't already asked them the questions. But this is great. I think, I mean, this is all that I have for now. I don't know if you have any last questions, any last comments for anybody. If you want to invite them to follow your page and what you do.
My only question for you is, it for me, because I'm new, but so then anyone else out there who might be new-ish, what is one thing you've learned to like never do with plants? Like, what's one thing that just is like, don't do this? Or maybe it's like out there of like, try this, but you're like, no, don't. Is there like one tip or thing that you're like, just don't ever do that?
Definitely with a leaf fig, don't put them in darker areas because all their leaves are gonna fall. So
yeah.
I bought a beautiful one. It was huge. It was like maybe 20 feet tall. And I had to make some. I tried to make cuttings and try to propagate it because it was too tall for our ceiling. So I had to cut it, and that didn't work. So, I mean, I don't know, unless you have all the good tips on how to propagate from leaf cuttings, then try it out, right? But there's that, and definitely keep them right next to a window. So that's definitely one thing that I've learned to not do because it literally killed it. And now I have it outside in the front porch. Hope it has grown some leaves, but it's still like it's no longer, you know, it's no longer.
It's like a twig.
Yeah, it's a little sad. I might need to like cut it and let it start again. I don't know. We'll see. I have some comments here from my next guest, actually on Saturday, the corner plant lady. Well, she's saying, love it. What's your favorite and least favorite plants? You know, my favorite plant, and I'll let you answer too, is the pothos, because so I have a big plant of pothos. I don't know if you guys can see it right around here.
Yeah.
And so I love that plant because it's so easily propagatable, if that's a word. It's just, I make cuttings and cuttings, and that big mountain of plant that I have, I asked my neighbor who had a big mountain of plants to take some cuttings about 2-3 years ago, and now my whole house is filled with pothos plants. And then all you do is put them in water, let them grow.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite plants. And how about you? What's your most favorite?
My favorite, it's funny, I feel like it changes every day. It depends on what plant I was like mesmerized as I stared at it. But it's a philodendron, and some people call it a golden crocodile, some people call it a golden saw. So it likes to climb, but the leaves can grow really long, but then they're like serrated, so it looks kind of like a saw on the edge. I wish I was at home so I could show you. It's like basically every other picture on my page, just because I'm obsessed with it, but it keeps giving me a new leaf every single month, and so it's just become this huge, and the leaves are like 15 inches long. Like, they're pretty long.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really cool. So it's called the golden crocodile because, like, I guess because it's kind of scaly, it looks kind of funny. But when the new leaf comes out, at first when it's unfurling, it's like this really crazy orangey pink. And then once it kind of opens up, it's this like golden yellow. And then as it ages, it turns kind of your crocodile green, limey green. So it just creates, as there's new leaves, like just a lot of color from the top. And I didn't know that they flower. And I have a bud that came up, and I'm waiting for it to open and flower. So
wow,
I guess he's like really.
Now you have it. It is required that you make a post about it.
I will have to show you once it flowers. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, this is all I have for today. So thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking the time, taking the opportunity, and trusting that we're gonna have a cool conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's been fun. It's been fun, and thank you for being my first guest. This is again
Absolutely.
my new project that I
Yeah.
hope it grows and grows, and hopefully I can make something big out of it eventually. But I appreciate you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your
Absolutely.
tips, your time, for sharing your journey. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. It was a lot of fun, and it was really nice to meet you face to face.
Same, likewise. It was very, very, very nice to have this conversation. It was very, uh, a lot of information. It was great. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
of course.
Have
All right.
a great day. All
We'll
right,
see ya.
take care.
Okay.
Bye.